Welcome to Expert Views on ADR, a podcast about simplifying the traditional African method of settling disputes or the appropriate dispute resolution ADR in a bid to attract more users to settle their disputes or conflicts with mediation, unbundled, collaborative law, arbitration, restorative justice, early dispute resolution, negotiation, conciliation, and of course, early neutral evaluation. My name is DrChinweEgbunike, a lecturer at the Faculty of Law, University of the West Indies, Trinidad and Tobago, a member of the ABA, American Bar Association Dispute Resolution, and the host of Expert Views on ADR video podcast show. I'm delighted to welcome Mr. Forrest Woody Mosten. He is an award-winning mediator and peacemaker who has been in private practice since 1979. He is also a collaborative family lawyer and the creator of unbundled legal services. He is an adjunct and professor of law at the UCLA School of Law, where he teaches mediation and family law. He co-founded the Mosten Guthrie Academy. He wears so many hats, so I've left the link to his profile. Welcome to the show, Mr. Forrest. Let me stop sharing now. It's such an honor to have you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes, Jim.
Okay, perfect. So without further ado, the first question is, what is the role of family mediation in conflict or dispute resolution? Thank you.
We work with families, and families have all kinds of needs, and unfortunately, the resolution and prevention of conflict are two of those needs. So where conflict resolution is applicable to other areas, it's even more needed for families and children. So that's the role I think it has, but it mirrors the needs in other areas, and it expands in many ways the needs in other areas. So we have a lot to talk about tonight.
Okay, thank you so very much for highlighting those two needs. So that's children and family. When we hear about family mediation and its role in conflict resolution, so we know that we are talking about family and children. Am I correct?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give you an example. When I'm mediating with a couple who are parents, I have them send me pictures of their children, photos of their children, so we can put right up on the Zoom or in person photos of their children, and they know who they're working for. It isn't just their own needs, it's the needs of their children now and in the future.
So does that is that the distinction between the usual mediation and family mediation?
I actually don't think so. I think that in non-family business and employment and in all areas of mediation, there are needs that are broader than a case. There's a article by Len Riskin and Nancy Welch that was written for the George Mason Law Review, and it says, "Is that all there is?" And they looked at mediation in courts, and the conversations were very narrow. They were, will this case settle? How strong is the law on your side? Will the judge like what your witnesses say? These are not unimportant, but they're not the most important. What's important is, how are the businesses going to work? How are the relationships within a company or organization going to improve? How is, in a real estate matter, people going to obtain the property that they want and then improve it the way that will meet their needs? So what I'm talking about in family, I think applies to all types of mediation.
Mediation. All right. Thank you so very much for highlighting that. So what are the laws and regulations that guide family mediation in the U.S.?
Well, first of all, there's no licenses at all. No one needs a license to practice mediation. One could be a lawyer or a therapist, and they have a license in another field, but they also could be a teacher, could be a business person.
Okay.
If they have the right training, they do not need to have a state's license. Some jurisdictions have something called certification.
Okay.
And certification isn't the right to practice mediation. You can practice without it. It just says you're much more qualified to do it. Some would say it's a marketing tool. I would say it is a training guide. It kind of tells what kind of training you need to be a good mediator.
So you're saying that we don't necessarily need certification for us to practice? Okay.
You don't necessarily need it, but the more training and practice someone has, the better the public will be served and the better mediator they will be.
Thank you so very much for clarifying that. So is there an intersection between family law and family mediation? Thank you.
The intersection isn't as strong as I'd like to see it, but it is there.
Okay.
Same people, and some family lawyers see themselves essentially as advocates and as litigators.
Okay.
I would like to think all family lawyers are problem solvers. And as a problem solver, my experience is that people who use dispute resolution strategies and techniques solve problems better than those who encourage the conflict.
Thank you so very much. And also, I've heard some authors pointing out that it takes longer time for families to settle via family law. And also for family mediation, another downside is that people settle matters without the law guiding them, settle in the vacuum of the law, so to speak. So what do you think?
I think the law is a very useful guide, but it's not the end of it. Many people will resolve their conflicts based on their customs, on their values, on the commonality that they have, much more than by the law. Even in courts, people end up in court not because of the law. They end up there because of their conflict. And the law may help judges have criteria for resolving and making decisions, but it isn't the what really motivates people. What motivates them are to be able to have a better family, have their children grow up and learn and grow in a very satisfying way.
Thank you so very much. So I thought I need to ask you this question about domestic violence, because you've seen so many articles and so many scholars, arguing for and against if domestic violence can be mediated or should not be mediated. And so, what is your take on that? Thank you.
Well, domestic violence is an ultimate imbalance of power.
Yes, no.
And it exists outside the mediation room. But if people run to court and need that
I can hear you. Sorry.
Pardon me?
Yeah, can you? Sorry, I didn't hear you. I think there was unstable connection. So.
Okay.
Sorry about.
It is very important, I think, for people who are suffering from imbalance of power in any way.
Yes.
And domestic violence is about the worst, short of murder. And sometimes it can lead to that. It's very important for people to be able to resolve and move on, especially if they're going to stay in a relationship. Just because there's domestic violence doesn't mean that the victim is going to leave. Often they stay. And having a mediator help a couple communicate better and understand each other may very well be a far better result than having a court issue orders, which may just make someone more angry and feel even less heard. It's why the model standards of family mediation include doing mediation for family violence and even children sexual abuse problems in the appropriate situation where people are safe.
Oh, thank you so very much for that clarification. So that leads me to the next question about the psychological impact of domestic violence. On power imbalance in family mediation. So since you're saying that the couples can stay, or the victim can still stay on, so what are the psychological imbalance? What are the impacts? Thank you.
Tremendous impact. A sense of lack of self and confidence, having a sense of control or being controlled. It's a very difficult situation. You may have seen I've written quite a bit on that, starting over 40 years ago, about the impact of domestic violence on the victims and on how they are difficult in a mediation. The victims, I'm not talking about the perpetrators.
Yeah.
That the victims learn to lie. They learn to lie in order to stay safe. So they lie to their partners, and they only tell. They've tried the truth, it hasn't worked, so they are afraid of telling the truth. And that makes it very difficult for a mediator to work with both a perpetrator and a victim.
So what is your advice when you get such cases? Do you, as a mediator, do you have to continue, or do you just end the section and I don't know, advise the parties? Or since you can't do that as a mediator, what should
no, I try.
Okay.
I try to help.
Okay.
And it has a lower percentage of success than cases that do not involve this type of violence, but it has some success. I am a big believer in trying mediation first. Now, sometimes it's important to have the mediation structured in a way that will be more successful. For example, for having particularly the victim have a lawyer who can give her a sense of confidence and trust, and that often will make the difference.
Oh, thank you so very much. What type of mediation can the mediator employ? Can they use mixture of transformative and facilitative or directive or evaluation doing this type of, if they're settling a case that involves domestic violence? Thank you.
Well, in other cases, I'll work the whole toolbox, all of them. In domestic violence, I'm usually more directive. Because there is not a history of people taking responsibility for their own results. And so they haven't done very well negotiating on their own. So I'm often more directive and evaluative in those types of matters.
Oh, okay. Thank you so very much. Can you expand on the implications of legally binding prenuptial agreements and post-nuptial agreements as well? Thank you.
I'm not sure about the question.
The prenuptial and
I know, I heard the word. I'm not sure about the question.
Oh, okay. Okay, so so let's skip to another question.
No, what is the question about premarital agreement?
Just for you to sort of expand on that, for some jurisdictions that are not too what was it called? They don't usually use that, and so sort of creating an awareness on the importance of prenuptial and postnuptial agreements.
I think they're very important.
Thank you.
I do a lot of them. I do a lot of them in mediation, with collaborative lawyers, and in a more traditional way. I happen to think that adults have the right to contract differences in the law. And that's what a premarital or postmarital agreement will do. It will give people more options in their own lives. I am a very big believer that people should have as much control and options in their lives as possible.
Thank you so very much. I think we've got 5 more minutes to go, but I need to ask you about the sort of training that you offer at the Mosten Guthrie Academy. Thank you.
Well, all of our training is online, so that people, and it's synchronous, meaning it's interactive. It isn't like people see a film and then they watch it. Every member of our training academy, when they're in a course, they will be answering questions, they'll be making comments, they will be in a highly interactive environment.
Thank you so much.
We have people from all over the world who come to our trainings. It's a little more difficult because it's synchronous. If someone is coming from India or Australia, and we started it at a time that works for the United States, people may take the courses at night because time zones are different.
It's true.
That's like right now with London, it's an 8-hour time difference. But we have courses that are foundational for our mediation course.
Oh,
We
okay.
have advanced courses like this week. I'm teaching a course, my master class, where from my books and trainings, I will come and we have a 2-day, 8-hour course for people to learn highly advanced strategies and tools. And then we have groups where people bring their cases and we help them think through how they could do their cases better.
Oh, thank you so very much. So, do you offer face-to-face training?
We do by contract.
Oh, okay.
For example, an organization might hire us to give training for their organization or their members.
Okay.
Or they'll contract for me or one of our other trainers to travel and give in-person training.
Oh, okay.
But the bulk of our training is online.
Online. Thank you so very much. And is it just in mediation? Do you offer trainings for in collaborative law and ombudsman?
And on unbundled services? Yes, we do.
How about ombudsman?
Oh no, we don't have any courses right now for ombudsman, but we do for collaborative practice. As you may know, we also teach lawyers how to be consulting lawyers in mediation, as well as therapists as consultants. And so my last book was on that. It's an ABA book from the family law section, and that's where people can get those books.
Okay, thank you so very much for highlighting all the advantages, effectiveness of using mediation, particularly family mediation. And of course, this is a masterclass. I appreciate you coming on the show, and I believe that potential users would embrace all you have stated here and opt for family mediation whenever the need arises. And of course, potential mediators would, of course, embrace all you've stated herein as well, and come join your training, and that should be in on the 15th and 16th as well. I think those are the 2 days for the training for this week.
Let me just check on the days. Thank you. It's actually on the 14th and 15th.
Oh, 14th and 15th, yeah.
That's Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
It's 4 hours each day, and they better get some sleep because I work them very hard.
I can imagine. Thank you so very much, Mr. Udi. And of course, in subsequent trainings, fingers crossed, I would be join in subsequent trainings, and I hope other people would join as well. Thank you so very much for all you've done.
To having you and your listeners and watchers in my classes. Okay.
Thank you so very much for all you've done for the field. Thank you so very much. Cheers.
Thank you,
bye.
Tim.
Cheers.
And thank you. Bye-bye.